The auction listing had been simple. Derelict station, Sector 47 Gamma, no life support, no warranties, sold as is. Davis had paid 17,000 credits, everything he had left after the medical bills. The doctors on Mars Colony had given him 6 months, maybe 8 if he was lucky. The neurodegenerative disease had already taken his left hand's fine motor control. Soon it would take everything else. Better to die among the stars than in some sterile hospital room. The station was worse than advertised. Ancient pre-Federation construction, it tumbled slowly through the void like a discarded toy. The airlock groaned as Davis cycled through, his breath fogging in the frigid air. Emergency lighting flickered sporadically, casting twisted shadows across corridors lined with frost. He'd brought enough supplies for 3 months. He wouldn't need more than that. Davis spent his first week just making one section habitable. His engineering background, earned over 30 years in the merchant fleet, came back like muscle memory. Even with his trembling hands, he could still coax life from dying systems. The heating grid hummed to life. Water recyclers coughed and sputtered before producing something almost drinkable. At night, he sat in the observation deck watching distant stars wheel past and waited for the end. The Dragon Girl appeared on day 43. Davis had been replacing a corroded power coupling in the station's lower ring when he heard it, a sound that shouldn't exist in the vacuum of space, singing, haunting and melodic. It echoed through the metal bones of the station like the cry of some ancient creature. He found her in the cargo bay. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. Humanoid in basic shape, but covered in scales that shimmered between midnight blue and deep purple, catching the dim light like oil on water. Wings, actual wings, folded against her back, each one large enough to wrap around a human twice over. Her eyes glowed with an inner fire, amber and ancient, horns curved back from her forehead, and when she noticed Davis, her mouth opened to reveal rows of crystalline teeth. "You're human," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that vibrated in his chest. "I didn't think any of your kind came here anymore." Davis should have run, should have sealed the bulkhead and called for help, if help existed anywhere in this forgotten corner of space. Instead, he found himself asking, "What are you?" "Luna," she said simply. "I'm Luna, what are you called?" "Davis." He leaned against the doorframe, suddenly aware of how exhausted he was. "And I asked what you are, not who." Her laugh was like music played on crystal chimes. "Does it matter? Your people have so many names for us. Dragon, Worm, Star Singer. We called ourselves the HFY before your ancestors learned to speak." She moved with fluid grace despite her size, approaching him slowly as if he were the dangerous one. "This station was ours once, a waypoint, a rest stop on journeys between stars. We abandoned it 3,000 years ago." Her glowing eyes studied him with unsettling intensity. "Why are you here, Davis?" "This place is a tomb. I came here to die," he said, surprised by his own honesty. Luna tilted her head, a gesture that was oddly bird-like. "So did I." Over the following weeks, an unlikely companionship formed. Luna explained that she was the last of her clutch, possibly the last of her entire species. While humanity had exploded across the galaxy in their brief, frantic existence, the HFY had slowly faded, their long lives no match for their glacially slow reproduction. "We were old when your son was young," she told him one evening in the observation deck. "We thought we had all the time in the universe. We were wrong." Davis found himself working harder on the station's systems with Luna there. She was strong where he was weak. Literally, her scaled arms capable of tearing apart seized machinery that would have taken him hours to dismantle. He was knowledgeable where she was not, his understanding of modern technology filling gaps in her ancient experience. They restored the hydroponics bay together, fixed the main reactor, even got the station's defensive grid operational, though Davis joked they'd probably never need it. "Why repair a tomb?" Luna asked him one day, echoing his own thoughts. "I don't know," Davis admitted. "Maybe I'm not ready to die yet." It was Luna who noticed the ship on long-range sensors, a krill raiding vessel, notorious for stripping derelict stations for parts and enslaving any survivors they found. They had 3 hours before intercept. "You should hide," Davis said, already moving toward the defense console. "In the lower storage compartments. They scan for life signs, but the radiation shielding down there, and leave you to face them alone." Luna's eyes blazed. I think not. What followed would later be recorded in Federation databases as the miracle of Sector 47 Gamma, though few knew the truth of what happened. The Krill found a station that shouldn't have been operational suddenly lighting up like a military installation. Defensive turrets that had sat dormant for millennia opened fire with frightening accuracy, guided by Davis's steady hands and 30 years of tactical experience. When the raiders breached the hull anyway, they encountered something from their darkest myths, a dragon in the flesh, fury incarnate, protecting what was hers. Luna's roar shook the station's superstructure. Her crystalline teeth tore through combat armor like paper. Her wings generated enough force in the pressurized corridors to send raiders flying into bulkheads. And when one of them got a lucky shot off, hitting Davis in the shoulder, her rage became something transcendent and terrible. The survivors fled. They spread tales of a cursed station guarded by ancient horrors. No one would bother Davis and Luna again. In the medbay, as Luna carefully extracted the bullet with claws more precise than any surgical tool, Davis laughed. It hurt his wounded shoulder, but he couldn't stop. "What's funny?" Luna asked, genuinely confused. "I came here to die," Davis said, "and instead I found a reason to live." Luna's stern expression softened into something that might have been a smile. "Perhaps we both did." The disease still ravaged Davis's nervous system. He had months at best, not years, but those months would be spent restoring the station, cataloging Luna's people's history, and teaching this ancient being about humanity's strange, fierce spirit. He would die eventually. They both would, but not today, not in surrender, not alone. In the observation deck, under the light of distant stars, a broken mechanic and the last dragon sang songs from two worlds and made a tomb into a home. And in that forgotten corner of space, life, stubborn, improbable, beautiful life, continued.